Volley camera 1.
Quick slant out. And another incomplete pass intended there to number 2, Jake Kenner.
Yeah. If you're the Eagles, you have to get up on this defensive play and force the quarterback to make an error.
Excellent. You got the ball in. Nicely done. 3-3. Go to 3.
By Bell. Bell breaks 2 tackles.
It's all you 3.
Bell's
Nicely
out.
done.
Oh,
he should have stayed there. Keep following them back 3.
Good evening, parents and community members. Over the past week, Springboro High School students have been collecting money for the victims of the Dayton tornadoes. Money raised by Student Council will be combined to the district total to help Trotwood Madison schools buy uniforms for their students affected by the Memorial Day tornadoes. 2 students from each grade were nominated by Student Council to go around and collect money for their grade. Student Council raised $2,135.08 this week. Congratulations, students. Our top fundraisers were Morgan Barrier and Krista Singler from the junior class. They raised $964.75. Miss Aston will present the top raisers with a plaque and the title of Mr. and Miss Panther 2019. Thanks to all the businesses, staff, students, and community for contributing.
Hello and welcome to Care Flight Field in Springboro, Ohio for tonight's MVCC Game of the Week for week number 5. It's a G-Walk National Showdown as the 1-3 Miamisburg Vikings come in to take battle with the 4-0 Springboro Panthers. Jared Bergstrom and Jeff Allen bringing you tonight's call. Jeff, why don't you go and tell us how the Vikings fared last week?
Well, last week was the Vikings versus the Centerville Elks in our Game of the Week, and just like the previous 3 weeks, it was another game that ended quickly because of the 30-point blowout rule that OHSAA implemented 3 years ago. The game was dominated by the Elks from the beginning, and they never looked back. The Vikings lost, though, 49-14, and not much was a takeaway moment from the game for the Vikings. And a positive note, Jared, we see that the Panthers won last week, but why don't you tell us how they got there?
Last week, the Panthers jumped out to a 28-0 lead at halftime over the Wayne Warriors and never looked back. They ended up winning the game 42-27 and were led by junior running back Moise Armbruster, who had 162 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. The Panthers seem to have balanced attack of rushing and passing plays coming into tonight's game, and will probably have to stay close even tonight for them to come out on top. Jeff, why don't you go ahead and introduce us to Miamisburg's head coach?
Well, Miamisburg has a new head coach this year after longtime coach Steve Chanel resigned, and now Lance Schneider is no rookie when it comes to coaching in G-Walk. Although it is his first season as a Miamisburg head coach, he did coach at Northmont from 1999 to 2015 as their head coach, and comes into this game, Jared, with a record of 108-66. Now, why don't you introduce us to longtime Panthers head coach Ryan Wilhite?
Ryan Wilhite has been the face of Panther football for quite a few seasons, and really, he took over in 2006 season, so he's been here from 2006 to present, an overall record of 93-47, and he was the head coach for the team's first playoff win in team history. Jeff, a lot of hard work and preparation go into making a game plan to win, and on the road during a conference play game is something hard to do. What do the Vikings have to do tonight to try to win on the road?
Well, first, Jared, for the Miamisburg offense, they have to utilize Christian Davis more. Did not really get him going in the key moments of the game. Relied on that passing game a little too much in our opinion. So definitely have to get him going, especially in the key moments and those manageable third downs. And speaking of that, they have to stay ahead in the chains. First downs are one of the most important parts of a football game. And so if you win those 9 times out of 10, you're probably going to win the game. And then, Jared, an obvious one, no turnovers for the Miamisburg Vikings. That has killed them throughout the season in certain points, and especially those impactful turnovers and the key moments that I was just talking about.
And defensively, what do the Vikings have to do?
But when we flip it to defense, we have to limit the big plays from Springboro. They have weapons all over the field, and it's just ridiculous sometimes. They definitely have to force turnovers. Springboro Panthers have played very safe this year and almost all assets, and if Miamisburg can get some turnovers, they can pull off a huge upset. And also, they have to get off the field on third down. If they halt the Springboro Panthers in those key moments, then they can. It's always possible to win a high school game if you do that. Jared, what has to happen for the Panthers to remain undefeated so far in the 2019 season?
They got to keep feeding Armbruster the ball. He has almost 250 yards coming into tonight's game through the first 4 games of the season. If you keep feeding him the ball, Miamisburg is going to have a hard time stopping the powerhouse that he is. Landon Palmer, he's almost going to have a flawless game. He comes in completing 75% of his passes tonight's game, only 5 interceptions and a fumble lost in the year. So really, he's been having flawless games. They've won decisively throughout most of their games, so it's just a few plays that he needs to work on. And finally, for offense, when Springboro is running the ball tonight, they have to get outside the tackles. Miamisburg's interior line defense is lethal, and if Springboro wants to try and run the ball and have success, they have to get outside the tackles, get away from Connor Day of the Vikings so they can get up the field. Defensively, they have to double-team Christian Davis. We saw the Elks do it last week, and Christian Davis could not get anything going out of the backfield for the Vikings. And there was a couple plays that he had, a few that he got that were busted, but other than that, if you can keep Davis double-teamed, I think you can keep the Miamisburg's offense at bay. Pressure Braden Barr. Last week we saw it a few times. If Centerville was getting in the backfield immediately on the hike, and if they can get back there and pressure Barr, he force turnovers. And no penalties that keep the drive going for the Vikings. Last week, towards the end, there was a few times that we thought Miamisburg was going to get back into it, and Centerville had a costly few turnovers. So just no dumb penalties. Don't hit the quarterback after the throw. No grabbing the face mask or anything. Jeff, now that we know each team needs to do to win, who is a player from each team to watch tonight in your opinion?
Well, for me, for Miamisburg, it has to be Christian Davis once again. Jared, he's totaling almost 520 total yards on offense and then 5 touchdowns, each coming from the rushing and receiving assets. So he's definitely a dangerous weapon out of that backfield. And for Springboro, I'm going to go with another offensive. I call Christian Davis a dual threat. I'll call him a triple threat because he is lethal in the return game. He has 5 kick returns so far this year for 113 yards. So Willian Yates can be used off the edge as a receiver on those little screens, and he's a flash. But what do you think is a standout for each team that we need to look at, in your opinion, Jared?
For tonight, first with Miamisburg, you're going to have to watch out for Braden Barr, but not at the quarterback position. Braden Barr I'm talking about when he comes into punt, he's averaging about 45 yards a punt, and he's pinned opponents inside the 24 times, and he has the longest punt of 63. So if Miamisburg, if they aren't going to do anything on offense to move the ball, they're at least going to flip the field with Braden Barr's punt. And for Springboro, it's going to be Jake Kowalski. 21 tackles, 3.5 sacks, and 18 tackles for loss. He's the G-Walk leader for sacks so far coming into the night. I think he seems to be all over the play like Connor Day is for Miamisburg. I think he's going to have a huge night tonight, maybe a couple sacks. Hopefully we can see him force his first fumble of the season. And finally, what everybody's been waiting for, Jeff, who's going to win tonight's game and why?
Well, Jared, I have to say my pick is Springboro. I picked Centerville against Miamisburg last week, and they blew them out of the water. And I think we're going to see a similar result, except Springboro has a better running game. They have more dynamic weapons that they can turn to. So I think it may even be more of a blowout, in my opinion. But I think Springboro walks away with this one comfortably and goes 5-0. Jared, how about you on the other side?
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the Panthers too. Springboro has everything clicking on offense and defense. Miamisburg is still trying to find themselves after revamping their whole offense and defense from the off-season coaching change. I think Springboro, they might get some contests from Miamisburg early, but I think Springboro will end up walking away with this one going to 5-0 at the end of the season. So it looks like the band is ready for the national anthem, so we're going to throw it over there, and we'll be back for your MVCC Game of the Week for week number 5.
Coach Brian Wilhite's Panthers will be looking to avenge last year's 21-7 loss to the Vikings, as well as working to remain unbeaten in this 2019 season. The Panthers were victors last week at Wayne. The Miamisburg Vikings, coached by Lance Schneider, come in with a 1-3 record, looking to get back on the winning track after losing last week to Centerville. On this warm September night, it's our homecoming game here at Care Flight Field at Watkins Stadium, and all the action and related festivities are coming your way in just a moment. Springboro High School and Miamisburg High School are members of the Ohio High School Athletic Association and abide by high standards of conduct, competition, and relations with member schools. The athletes in this game are friendly rivals, and the play on the field may be spirited. I remind all in attendance that this is a game between young student athletes, and qualities of good sportsmanship are expected. The officials assigned to this game have met the extensive requirements set forth by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and have been approved by both schools for tonight's game. The officials for tonight's game, the head linesman is Todd Bowerman, the referee is Chet Roberts, the line judge Robert Roach, the back judge is Matt Ferdinand, and the umpire is John Sullivan. Here come your Springboro Panthers! Visiting Miamisburg Vikings. This is the fourth year that he has visited us from Texas. Tonight he leads our local military heroes onto the track and onto the field.
All right, the band has cleared the field. Both teams have taken their positions. We are just about ready for kickoff for our MVCC game of the week for week number 5. Jeff, any final thoughts before we get this game underway?
No, Jared. I think Miamisburg knows what they have to do to win this game. And I think that although we are expecting a blowout, this is GWalk football. And so I think, especially now that they have, and it's less expanded, it's more narrow, so I think anything can happen any given Friday night.
So we've got number 28, Matthew DePore, on to kick off for the Panthers. Looks like you're going to have number 7 Austin Plowman and number 10, Colin Ivory, back deep to return this for the Vikings.
You also see Christian Davis back there. So they're finally putting him on returning duties. And I think it's so impressive that kid is a freshman, Jared. Here we go, Matthew DePore kicking off, and this is someone you were excited to see earlier this season due to his 47-yard field goal kicked off.
Yeah, against Mason, he had a 47-yard field goal that probably could have been good from 50-plus. And we are underway as this one sails into the back of the end zone, so Miamisburg will start out at their own 20. I just want Miamisburg to stop Springboro one time around the 40 just so we can see DePore kick a field goal from that range.
Well, that hasn't been
It's been that's a lot to ask for a defense that no defenses really seem to stop Springboro at all this year.
Yeah, definitely some of their top competition faced so far, though, so we will see how Schneider's Vikings fares up against Will Heights Panthers as Braden Barr comes out here.
Handoff he's going to tuck it and throw it out to number 6 that is intended to Howard and is incomplete.
A beautiful play action and a good slant by Tywan Howard, but met by Josh Collins. And Jared, he is a senior now. We have been watching him for 3 years, and I'm pretty sure he is a captain. Josh Collins has been tearing it up as a defensive back for the Panthers for a while now. He already has 2 picks this year with a pick 6, double-digit tackles, so I think he will be another player to watch on this Panthers defense.
Barr back to pass. Barr's going to throw it out to, I believe that's Davis out of the backfield.
Barr's pass is complete to Davis. Brought down by number 9, Nathan Schwartz.
Nathan Schwartz on the tackle. He has 23 tackles this year. He has been causing havoc from the linebacker spot as well.
So 3rd and 1 coming up.
And a good little wheel route. And we've seen them do that a lot this year so far, Jared, and have success most of the time. And they're already getting their young running back involved.
Davis is going to get the carry, and Davis will have a first down across the 30. So Miamisburg comes out 3 plays on the first down. So they're heading in the right direction. Tackle on the play was by number 54, Jake Kowalski, my player to watch. So already getting in there, 2 tackles already in the game today.
Yeah, Jared, this is a 3-4 offense, so he is coming off the edge most of the time. Already 3.5 sacks through this year. So I definitely think he'll be something to watch off the edge, especially against an offensive line that struggled against Centerville's pass rush. Braden Barr, nobody in the backfield with him. Davis in motion.
And a false start it looks like. Actually, it was a delay of game.
Delay game. Number 18 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
So that'll back them up 5 yards. So it'll be 1st and 15.
So that'll make them line up again.
And that's what we talked about in pregame. No dumb penalties. And Barr's going to pull it out and throw it, and that was almost intercepted. I did not see who that was coming in from the Panthers.
I think that was number 4, Cameron Snur. Either that, and I know Brock Bernard was back there, and Bernard is another impressive player. And this Panthers team is just sprinkled with talent everywhere, Jared. But their second leading tackler is coming out of the secondary. Brock Bernard, number 33 to safety, has 28 tackles and 2 picks already. As you see him on the left side of your screen. Barr will line up on a 2nd and 15.
Barr back to pass. Throws a slant out, and he's down immediately. Looked like he fell, and he's going to lose about 2 or 3 yards on that. So now we're looking at 3rd and long here for the Vikings.
Jared, we're halfway through the season almost after this game, and so I think it's really time for Miamisburg to distinguish a number 1 receiver. They really haven't. They have been balanced in between Colin Ivy, a big playmaker. They got Ethan Osborne.
Tamar Thomas is another one that
Tamar Thomas made a big play last week.
So 3rd and 19 here. Barr back to pass. Throws it out to, I believe that's
number 84, Jackson McGowan, We saw him last week, and he is a really compelling prospect, Jared. He is a freshman at 6'4", 200 pounds.
And that, I mean, I don't know if you want to start the tally mark, but I mean, questionable play calling. Why do you throw a 4-yard out route to the tight end on 3rd and 19 is head scratching to me. But now we're going to see Barr on the punt.
Especially in a more preventful type of defense. You see both their gunners out to the right. That's not usual.
Barr, it's a line drive kick, but bounces at the 40, and one tackle is missed. And number 18, it looked like Adam Berry returned it to about the 40. Number 10, Connor Heiss. Out to about the 40.
And now, Jared, out brings the senior Landon Palmer. We've seen this guy at the helm for the last 3 years. And he has just been getting more impressive. Although we've seen less and less of him as the year goes on. Springboro is blowing out teams most of the time too much. And then they got 5 receivers, and you'll see that a lot tonight, and already a flag.
A false start, it looks like. So both teams with penalties that'll back them up early on their first possession.
False start on the offense. Number 59. 5-yard penalty. First down.
False. Quick to move to the quick there was Max Ralph.
Max Ralph is going to be a big part of this offensive line, along with Nick Bazell, number 73.
Palmer back to pass. Doesn't take it. He's going to actually tuck it and run. He'll be back to the original line of scrimmage and out across the 40 to about the 43. So about a gain of 6 on the play.
And it's so impressive to see. He's huge, Jared. He's 6'5", 220 pounds. The way he moves is just something to behold at.
And he's not a bad basketball player. We'll see him later on in the basketball season. Palmer has Yates behind him.
And good play design. I don't know if it was a quarterback draw or a bunch of curls that just didn't work out.
Yates is going to get the carry. Yates cuts it out across the 50. He's at the 40.
And
he's at the 30. Or that's Armbruster.
Surging down the sideline and into the end zone. And wow, this kid has been the definition of eating this year, Jared.
I said keep feeding him the ball. His first carry goes for a 40. About a 52-yard run for Armbruster.
And we saw him last year, but he was the low-key kind of weapon that came in early in the season, and now he is a junior. He is the star running back, and before this game, Jared, he was averaging 6.7 yards a carry. That's his 6th touchdown of the year.
I think that yards per carry is going to go up quite a bit tonight if he can run like that. I mean, he made one cut. He was going from inside and switched to running it back out across the tackles. And we said, you got to outrun the tackles. And he did, and he took off for a big touchdown run there for the Panthers.
And we don't give a lot of credit to particular offensive linemen a lot, but Logan Maines, the right tackle, just getting out there, clearing the edge, and he got inside, and he just got away.
He did. He hit Connor Dye right at the line of scrimmage. We'll see it right here in the replay. Well, that's after the hit.
And all you see is the blur that is Moyes Armbruster. Wow. This guy has a low center of gravity, and he has some jets to match.
Oh, as soon as he got to the second line of the defense, he turned on the afterburners, and he was gone.
So a huge play, and this is what we expect when we watch this Springboro Panther offense. So many weapons. They have 5 receivers that can hurt you. They have 2 different running backs that can hurt you, and one of them happens to be a safety. Timmy Kessaday is their goal line go-to.
And the quarterback can do it all.
Yeah, you got Yates. And most of the time, the Springboro Panthers offense has been too explosive for their own good because Mikey Apple, the backup quarterback, comes in most of the time halfway through the game, and he shows out. So Ryan Wilhite must feel pretty good to have 2 quarterbacks you can rely on. That doesn't happen very often in high school football.
Both quarterbacks are well above 50% completion percentage. And DePore is on to kick off again. And this one is just going to go right back into the end zone. So
over him once again.
I think we should all just save time on Springboro's kickoffs and just put it at the 20.
So many touchbacks for that guy this year.
So we talked about it last week after Centerville. Centerville didn't score that quickly last week against the Vikings.
Yeah, it was way more methodical.
But now, I mean, with that quick ability, how does Miamisburg try and sustain a drive here to at least match a score?
And I think it comes down to establishing a receiver, one receiver, utilizing Christian Davis to the fullest, and just keeping it manageable. You saw they were having a pretty good drive, but then they had that penalty. So
Davis is going to get the carry. Davis stiff arms one, gets the way out of the other one, and gets out to about the 23. Looked like he was tackled there by number 23, maybe Xavier Trent.
It's actually Pretty on the tackle, number 56. Well, that was a nice little move there.
Yeah, the stiff arm and then just the stop
The hesitation.
juke back.
Here we go, Braden Barr coming out on a 2nd and 8. And every down matters when you're going against an offense like this, Jared. You have to score as much as possible.
Davis, no, Barr's going to tuck it, gets out of the way of the one defender, throws a strike to across the outside. A flag comes in. A first down play for the Vikings. I did not see who caught that.
He got about 20 yards.
That was about 20 yards running. I mean, he was on the far side, cuts across the whole field. But let's see if the play will hold because of the penalty.
I think that was a penalty on Springboro, actually.
The only thing I could think it would be if it was on Miamisburg, we'll see here. It's holding right there on Miamisburg on number 11. You saw it. Maybe if we can restart the replay.
There is no penalty.
Oh, they're going to wave it off. So Miamisburg.
Catch and luck here early.
So Miamisburg with a huge first down.
Good play design by Braden Barr. That was a really convincing play action, and he draws the pressure from the edge. So
I thought he was going to tuck it and run it because we've seen it so much this year.
He is the second leading rusher on that team with over 200.
Maybe after all the hits he took last week, maybe this week he's maybe going to try and hold the ball a little bit more and maybe find something open so he's not taking so many hits and going to sit in that ice bath too long after the game. Barr going to tuck it, throw, and just out of the outstretched arms of Ivory. You read that. It was perfect play setup. It looked like Barr just put too much zip on it because he looked like he saw the safety fall and he got happy.
And Jared, he's going to see that throw in his nightmares. A perfect play action. Kessaday slips up. Ivy has the entire middle of the field to run after the catch.
Yeah, that was a touchdown pass right there.
Just a little over his head. But I think as a quarterback, you need those to move forward and get better.
Barr alone in the backfield. Barr's going to quickly throw it out to, that is number 6. That is Howard. Gains about 3 or 4 on the play, so it'll be 3rd and manageable. So let's see if Miamisburg can get something here.
And I think the screen game is going to be really essential as we move forward in this game, Jared. We saw it at times last week, but it really works. With Christian Davis on the outside, Colin Ivy, just creating separation for your playmakers. That will be something to watch going forward is Tywan Howard on that edge with the screen game.
And really, we haven't seen Tamar Thomas targeted at all yet today.
You see him at the top of your screen behind Osborne.
Barr eyeing Thomas. Or no, he's going to go to Osborne. Osborne in and out of the hands. The refs want the flag, or the fans want the flag.
Down the field, incomplete. Pass intended for Osborne.
Fantastic coverage by Alex Brown. He was the safety on the play. And that was just before the pass, and possibly controversial, but I think that was too close to call to the naked eye, Jared. I think the refs did the right thing there. As you see the replay here, Osborne running down on a post. And
Brown got there right as the ball did.
And in the midst of that jump ball, he reached around the waist so
fair
the ref
catch
wouldn't see
called.
it.
And Miamisburg, I do not know why they tried to touch it there. They could have let that bounce. Barr could have had another pin inside the 10. But what Alex Brown, I don't know if anybody saw it. He slipped right at the top of the coverage when Osborne made his cut. He slipped, but he saw, well, like we talked about last week, Barr was eyeballing Osborne the whole time, so it allowed Brown to get back. That's something Braden Barr is going to have to work on the rest of tonight's game and the rest of the season if Miamisburg wants to remain in playoff competition.
Well, it doesn't seem he needs to work on his punting because
right,
it's looking like he called it so far.
Another one inside the 20 for Braden Barr.
Palmer comes out here.
Armbruster gets the carry. Armbruster bounces off 2 tackles, makes a third one miss, cuts it upfield, but can't get away from that one.
It's so impressive with the moves. And he just has a body of a halfback, Jared. You see it in his movements. So fluid, so light on his feet.
Plowman with the tackle, but Armbruster is definitely proving something here to watch early.
Yeah, we saw him last year, but he has definitely improved his ball carrying vision. Thomas in motion. Beautiful vision
Palmer's
by
just
Landon
going to
Palmer.
tuck it and run. Palmer stiff arms one defender, first down across the 30, out to about the 34, maybe 33.
And that is a football player, Jared. You
Not
see
afraid
him,
of the contact.
but before he rolled out to the right, he sensed the pressure from Alex Eanes coming off the edge when the tackle pushed up. Impressive football IQ from the senior. Landon Palmer drops back once again. Yates on the curl.
Yates gets the completion. Yates spin moves out and almost picks up about 6 on the play.
That was my player to watch, Jared. And I've been impressed since watching this kid on the freshman team in basketball with his ball handling ability, and he is just so elusive. A hurry-up offense for Springboro. Handoff to Armbruster up the middle.
It has enough for the first down.
Close to the first down mark.
And like we were talking about before the game, Jared, so many playmakers all over the field. They can go in any direction and end up with a big play anytime.
First and 10 Panthers.
Palmer to Yates again on the curl. That's going to be a popular option tonight. Yates breaking open.
2 broken tackles and down to about the 35.
And you'll see that the most, Jared. The Yates curl and the Yates screen. They love using this young man in open field. He reminds me so much of the human joystick.
That's a interesting comparison.
Palmer handoff to Armbruster up the middle. But you gotta love this kid Armbruster. He can do it both. He can run it in between the tackles and ram, and he can get outside and dash. Yates on the screen, and I was just talking about this play,
Yates
Jared.
cuts it back in, breaks the tackle. He's at the 5, and he will be out at about the 1.
And he is a lethal blur.
Yates knocked out of bounds at the
They have
1.
utilized this kid to the fullest the past couple years, and now he has one full healthy season. He's not injured. He is not suspended. And look what the young man's doing tonight so far.
Has entered the Cincy Klein red zone.
He has about 250 total yards on the season and 6 total touchdowns. Yates takes it in Wildcats.
And Yates in for a 1-yard score for the Panthers.
He's the versatile, do-it-all triple threat, as I said before this game. So that's his 2nd rushing touchdown, and that adds to his 5 receiving touchdowns on the year so far, Jared. Already 2 possessions, 2 scores for this lethal Springboro offense, and we might see Mikey Apple in the first half once again.
And that was about an 87-yard drive or so.
It didn't feel
and
like it.
And they did it in like 4 plays.
It did not feel like it. Almost blocked, but the poor extra point
is
good.
Panthers lead 14-0 here with 3:51 left in the first quarter. And just like last week, Miamisburg is finding themselves in a hole early, and if they can't sustain a drive to at least answer with a field goal, you got to build something, you got to have something positively to build on. I mean, last week Miamisburg didn't cross the 50 until the second half.
Well, the crazy part about it, Jared, they haven't even utilized their full weaponry. They have 3 guys who haven't even gotten targets yet. They've been going to Armbruster. They've been going to Yates. I don't think they've opened up their full arsenal yet. So Miamisburg will definitely have to make some offensive adjustments to push this game a little bit.
Visit us online at premierhealth.com/sportsman. Premier Health. Our care.
So you'll see Ivy and Davis come out for the kick return once again. And Colin Ivy has been the guy that you want to get in open field so far on the kick return side. He has 11 kick returns for 241 yards.
He ain't going to get one tonight if DePore keeps kicking it into the end zone.
And that has also been a common theme for Springboro. They don't really have to do much on the kickoffs.
All they need is one person out there. That's the kicker.
Let this young man work his leg. Number 28 will give it another crack.
And this one is fielded at the, no, I thought they were going to field it at the 1. But it goes into the end zone once again, so another touchback. He could probably squib it. It'll get down to about the 10.
Young man is impressive, and who knows, Jared, they might have another D1 kicker on their hands. I had Charlie Kubander a couple of years ago, and it was a pleasure watching him for the couple of years he was at Springboro. So out brings Braden Barr. And I definitely think he is one of the players to watch, as you said, but he's the X factor. He makes this team run. He's the quarterback, and so we'll see what he can do this possession.
Davis is going to get the carry out of the backfield. Davis cuts out all the way, and he is tackled for a loss in the backfield. I think forward progress might get him a loss of 1.
And you saw Jake Kowalski off of the edge once again. He is an animal. His lateral quickness is something to wonder at.
The 4-yard loss on that run. It's just Miamisburg just doesn't have their offensive line just doesn't seem to have the ability to block like they need to.
Yeah, and I think it's a question of cohesiveness, Jared.
And all it is with Davis's speed, if they could just block for 2 seconds, he can get by it.
Yeah, once you seal that edge, it's a big play.
Play clock is already down to 5, so Miamisburg has to hurry.
Definitely look like some cooperation issues. Motion for Ivy, jet sweep. Goes absolutely nowhere.
He might get back to the original line of scrimmage, depending on the spot.
And you saw Sam Baker and Christian Davis trying to block the edge, but Josh Collins came around too quickly. They could not get to him. Good job of Collins staying home.
So 3rd and 11 again for the Vikings.
Going to have to hope for another big play. They
At least this time, hopefully they just don't throw a 4-yard out to the tight end like they did last time.
Davis moves out to the slot, but will go in motion.
Barr back to pass. Barr's going to tuck it and run. He might be close to the first down if he can get out of bounds, and he will be right at it. Let's see where the refs spot it.
I think he got the first down there, Jared.
Barr decides to keep it running towards the 30-yard line, knocked out of bounds by number 54, Kowalski.
It looks like he was knocked out at the 29.5, and he needed the 30.
And I think they're going to bring the punting unit out once again, and you see a frustrated Christian Davis on Miamisburg. He wanted to go for that one, and I think that you had to.
At this point, down 14 already or in the first quarter, you've got to make a statement play.
Excellent coverage that last play by Springboro, but good read by Barr, almost getting the first down there.
Barr picks that one up off the ground, gets a high kick.
Almost got Josh Collins, spins out of one tackle, but is eventually wrapped up by Kyle Bryant.
So Miamisburg stops or gets a decent punt and pushes the returner back a couple of yards. They'll start at the 21, but Springboro's proven they can drive 80 yards in 4 plays.
Yeah, so far Landon Palmer leading this Springboro offense has just been dazzling. It's 2 minutes left in this first quarter, Jared, and they're on the 3rd possession, and we're expecting a score. I think everybody is.
I guess the question is how quickly it will come. Palmer back to pass, takes a 4-step drop, throws a dart right across the middle of the field, and almost intercepted by number 7, Austin Plowman.
An uncharacteristic throw by Landon Palmer. Way over Yates' head.
He's got to realize Yates is only 5'10".
I was about to say, it's a very small target, but still, I don't think that would have reached Titan Case.
And who would have thought that an incomplete pass is Springboro's worst play of the night so far?
I think that speaks volumes to how impressive they have been. 3 receivers, 1 tight end now for the Panthers.
Armbruster gets the carry. A flag comes in.
And that's going to be a hold, I think, on number 3.
The ball carrier, wrapped up by number 32, Connor Musgrove.
See what the referee signals.
They're still cooperating about the penalty. And they're calling it a hold on Springboro. This one's coming back.
Penalty flag on the play.
So explaining the signal to coaches.
Holding. Offense. 10-yard penalty. Second
So that's going to back the Panthers up. It'll be second and about 17, I think.
Back to their own 15-yard line, where they will replay second down and about 18.
So now here's where Springboro will have to tap into their full potential now, Jared. I think
This is where Miamisburg's interior line needs to get in the backfield and tackle Armbruster.
and they're only rushing 3. You saw Miamisburg blitzing a lot last week, but not.
But their 3 looks like they're, well, a screen set up
screen
for
play.
Armbruster. Armbruster out across the 20.
And beautiful design, but how about the pursuit by Kyle Bryant? Getting fooled by the screen, but coming back.
He got back home on it. And Miamisburg, I know a screen set up and makes it look better, but I mean, Miamisburg blew through there before the screen blockers were out in front.
Yeah, definitely
So-
good anticipation.
And almost getting home there was number 59 for the Vikings, Braden Davis.
So the up-tempo Springboro Panthers already set Palmer back.
And
He's gonna run
Palmer's
it.
going to get out. He's going to have a first down. He's out across the 35, the 40. Tries to make that one miss, but Plowman comes up and hits him at the 41.
40-yard line.
A gain of 21 on that play.
But it's first down for the Panthers.
And another display of Landon Palmer's uber impressive footwork.
Well, Miamisburg almost had a sack in the back, but Palmer's just heads up ability. I mean, he's playing with eyes on the back of his head that last 2 plays.
4 receivers, Armbruster back with him in the backfield.
And another flag is going to probably be a false start against Springboro.
Stop the action.
Dead ball. False start.
So Springboro backed up once again by the penalty.
First down.
So it'll be 1st and 15 from the 36.
I know they're up 14-0, Jared, but every penalty starts adding up.
36.
Then it's something Wilhite's not going to be happy about in the locker room at halftime.
Especially a team that's 4-0. You have so much on the line. This is one of his most talented teams ever.
This is the furthest he's taken a perfect season besides when he went 10-0 in 2008 or 9, I believe.
Solid run by Armbruster inside, tackled by Musgrove.
Spotted at about the 43-yard line. It'll be second down and 8.
So running out of the gun, looked like he got more yards than he did. So bring up a 2nd and 8, but I think it's a timeout.
And
for
that
Wilhite.
is the end of the first quarter in our MVCC game of the week for week number 5. Springboro scores in 2 quick flashes, but right now they're working on a drive now.
Panther fans, at this time we'd like to direct your attention to the field, Springboro Schools and the Springboro
But we'll
community.
see 2nd and 8 coming up. See if Miamisburg can at least get a stop. But I mean, even if they get close, they're about where you can go for it on the field here if you're Springboro.
Yeah, and so far we have seen Miamisburg running into another spread offense that is pass dominant and that even has a better running back. I definitely think Springboro is better than Centerville. So you could see the adjustments in their defense, Jared. Alex Eanes, number 2, he was the edge rusher last week against Centerville, but he is dropping back into slot coverage a lot this week. So I definitely think they should start adjusting to a 3-4 when they face these spread offenses. They're definitely having trouble with pass coverage. But the second quarter brings out with it Landon Palmer and this eccentric Springboro offense.
Second down and 8 from the 43.
So the beginning of the second corner, Palmer drops back. Pass to the sideline
is complete.
Palmer's pass is complete to number 13, Trent.
That was
Gain
number
about
13.
5 on the play. It'll set up a 3rd down and 3.
3rd and 3.
That's Khalil Trent there on the catch. He's seen a little attention so far this season.
Armbruster gets the carry. Armbruster busts through. Armbruster out or down to about the 30.
Some running room up the middle.
And you can barely see the young man's legs when he starts turning, Jared. You see on the MVCC Game of the Week replay. The line does an exceptional job moving the Miamisburg defense to the right so Armbruster can come right down that hole.
Tackle on the play was by Connor Dye.
And the guy we haven't seen him go to yet, Jared, is Brandon Thomas. He can be a good option. And there we go.
He goes. Oh, he throws it through the hands of Thomas.
Player pass out to Brandon Thomas.
And he had a couple really good games last year, but did not see a lot of attention consistently. And has had some problems with drops, but nothing really that bad. And we see him getting warmed up tonight with his first target.
You're going to have Trent down here at the bottom of your screen and Thomas at the top with Yates in the slot.
Thomas coming across, but hand up to Armbruster up the middle.
And Armbruster erupts through, and that's another touchdown, his 2nd of the game. A 30-yard score for Moise Armbruster, and just like that, Springboro scores. I mean, it's definitely the longest drive they've had of the game.
And this Springboro offensive line, though they have an easy job as they only have to cover the front layer for this young man to break loose, they are doing a really good job at performing. You saw number 79, Evan Brown, coming around to pull there. And also number 3, Titan Case, as the lead blocker, allowing for Armbruster to break loose. And DePore, his extra point is good, and that will bring the score to a whopping 21-0.
Panthers take a 21-point lead.
And Jared, you got to say, we expected something like this when we envisioned this game. Although it is GWalk and anything can happen on any given Friday, it is not looking good so far.
No, Miamisburg now fighting down 21. This is falling apart at the seams quicker than what Centerville's did last week. So Miamisburg has got, I mean, at this point, they've just got to sustain a drive to take time off the clock so Springboro can't score again.
Now Miamisburg will receive their 4th possession tonight. This beautiful Friday at Careflight Stadium. Careflight Field, excuse me.
And I mean, we don't really have to talk about the kickoff because there ain't going to be no return. As DePore's going to just plow it right into the end zone.
We still got Ivy and Davis there just in case they do return it, Jared. Like I said earlier, Ivy has been the go-to kickoff returner, performing in open space.
Maybe kicking against the wind. No, it ain't going to matter. So Miamisburg will start out at the 20 again.
The 4th touchback kicked by Matthew DePore. And here we go, Braden Barr. We saw him start to go to the screen game a little bit, but nothing showing a breakout play potentially. And I really think that the edges of this line are going to determine how the rest of this game goes, Jared. This offensive line has to step up for the Vikings.
They got
Davis
3
in motion.
receivers stacked to the bottom and a flag on the far side of the field.
False start.
Another false start called against Miamisburg.
I understand it.
False start. Offense. Number 73. 5-yard penalty.
So it'll back them up 5 more. And Miamisburg, I mean, they seem to be a pro at starting 1st and 15.
Now it's time for this offensive line to perform, as I just said a second ago. They really need to clear room on that edge. They find a lot of success when they do that. Barr with 5 receivers.
Barr throws that to Osborne. Osborne, nice catch at the 20. Back to the original line of scrimmage.
That was a good curl, but short yardage play.
Gain of 5 on the play, maybe 6. It'll be 2nd down and 9 now.
2nd and 10 now. Miamisburg really needing a breakout play.
Barr's going to stay solo in the backfield again. He's going to drop back, pass, throws it to, I believe that is number 1. That is Thomas. And he's out. No, he's right at the first down marker. It'll be 3rd and about half a yard. Or 3rd and 1, is depending on where they spot it.
So I definitely think they're going to run it now, Jared, as they brought out the heavy package, sending 2 receivers back, bringing out Peyton Myers, who's played a lot of tight end, and also number 58, Darius Williams, the 260-pound sophomore. Looks like they're bringing out the heavy set now.
Miamisburg play clock's to 5, and they look confused. Davis steps to the left. Davis gets the carry. Davis spin move, and he's hit for a big loss on 3rd down. And once again, the punting unit's going to come out for the Vikings.
And even with the heavy set, you saw the offensive line to just not beat Springboro off the punch.
No, Springboro drove through there.
A lot of penetration
Looked like
there.
Initial contact was by number 24, Jake Wade. And Barr on to punt for the 4th or 5th time tonight.
That has been the showcase for the Vikings tonight, is Barr's punting.
High snap, flag on the play. Barr sends this end-over-end kick. Tackle missed there by the Vikings. And the returner, I believe that was
Josh Collins.
Collins gets out to about midfield. If that was offsides, Miamisburg gets a 1st down by the penalty.
That would be their only 2nd first down of the night so far, too.
And they get called for a false start.
Illegal formation on the offense. Penalties decline. 1st down, Springboro.
So Springboro start out this drive at the 40, their own 49, so only 51 yards between them and another touchdown score.
And Jared, I think we'll see the phenomenal backup come in once again before the end of the first half. And we haven't really gotten to see a full game out of Landon Palmer yet. These games have not been competitive enough, and Springboro is looking way too equipped, even in this new souped-up G-Walk. And we already see him. That is Mikey Apple out there, the backup quarterback, who has been exceptional in place of Landon Palmer, and they do not hesitate to put him in at all.
Yates gets the pitch. Yates cuts it across to the outside. Yates at the 40. Yates at the 30. And that is probably the easiest pass Apple will complete all year.
I think that technically counts as a handoff, but how about the offensive line? Miamisburg really needs to take some tips. Springboro just plowing to the right side. They bring around Armbruster and the other receivers to help seal off that edge and get their playmaker into open space. Other 4 receivers set with Armbruster right next to him.
Apple back to pass, flag on the play, so it might be a free one. Fumble on the play. Miamisburg falls on it if it's, but we got to see what that penalty says.
And that's where you see the difference between Landon Palmer and Apple.
I think Palmer will be back in the next series for the Panthers.
Though you saw almost the same situation earlier, and Palmer just instinctively go right inside the tackle.
So Miamisburg is given their sideline warning. That's what the flag was for. So Miamisburg forces a turnover, so now they have to capitalize on this before the half runs out.
Yeah, definitely some momentum going. You don't often see sideline warnings to teams that are down this much. Davis coming in the backfield. And another penalty flag here in this first half, and we still got 8 minutes to go, Jared.
Like I said, the last possession, they just need to start at 1st and 15 and get the false start out of the way.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And Lance Schneider's face has to be red right now as his team picks up another false start. And that's at least the 3rd of the game and maybe the 4th.
But it's basic football fundamentals. I mean, once your hand is set on the field, you cannot move until the ball is snapped.
So 5 receivers set now for Barr. 1st and 15.
Barr's going to throw it out, come by Osborne at the original line of scrimmage, and pushed out of bounds by 3 Panthers. Looks like number 4, Cameron Snur.
Yeah, Cameron Snur. Alex Brown also on the play.
So 2nd and about 8.
Good for about 7. Saw on the replay, Ethan Osborne fought for every yard. Four receivers out now.
And Schneider calls a timeout for the Vikings. Play clock was under 10, and Miamisburg did not look set.
Yeah. And you got to think Schneider knows exactly how important this drive is for his team, not only for their momentum, but simply for their confidence going forward.
If Miamisburg can sustain a drive down, get a touchdown here right before the half, they get the ball. No, they don't. They got the ball to start the game first, so that wouldn't be a double-up opportunity for them.
Yeah, I don't think they have the play control to pull Belichick right here, Jared.
2nd and 8.
I'm talking about a triple option level of clock control to be able to pull that off right now.
You can talk about it while we're in the booth all we want. It's if the team can execute it.
5 receivers. Davis going back.
Davis gets Barr's going to keep it. Barr somehow gets out of the middle of the Springboro defense and picks up decent yardage on 3rd down.
He fights really hard, but only gets about 3 yards.
It'll be 3rd and 5.
5 on the play. It'll set up a 3rd down and 5 from the Panther 48-yard line.
So at this point, if this is 2-down territory here for the Vikings. Barr takes the towel off and throws it behind him. He's going to go solo in the backfield once again. Oh, now here comes Davis to join him.
Huge 3rd and 5 here, Jared.
Barr back to pass. David throws a block across the middle of the field, and it is hauled in by the Vikings, and that was number 1, Thomas.
And we keep talking about distinguishing a number 1 receiver for the Vikings, and this guy has stepped up in the big moments over the past 2 games, Jared.
And with how the crowd erupted, you would think Miamisburg just tied the game up on that catch.
Yeah, they definitely have a good fan base.
But a positive note as they drive into Panther territory for the first time tonight.
At least they did it in the first half in this game, Jared. 7 minutes to go still, and they have some forward momentum going. We could see a comeback attempt.
Barr throws it in the middle of the field, and it is incomplete. It looked like it was intended to.
Knocked away by number 25.
Yeah, and
I cannot tell who that was intended to.
Jackson McGowan. But I think you could have called pass interference if you stared at that one hard enough. Definitely was out of the 5-yard range.
When he dove down to the ground for it, it looked like it bounced off his hands, and Springboro was right there. Heads up play, they could have intercepted it.
So they bring a tight end out, Peyton Myers, at that spot.
Barr back to pass. He's going to go right back to, and that one's knocked away by the Panthers.
Jackson McGowan, only a freshman, has the size advantage.
It'll be 3rd down and 10 from the 34.
So 1st and 10 quickly turns into 3rd and 10. And if you're Miamisburg, you got to get a decent chunk here, if not to go for it, but to at least get into field goal range. Barr is going to be alone in the backfield once again.
They keep on motioning Davis, though.
Barr back to pass. Looks like he's going to look for Davis. In and out. It was way behind Davis. Miscommunication there, and 4th and 10.
Yeah, I felt like he thought he was going to go more outside than he did. So a big 4th and 10. And
Play clock's already down to 20, and Miamisburg, they don't really look like they know what they're doing.
well, I think they're kind of confused because out of all the 4th downs they could have converted on, they're going for the 4th and 10. We've seen them punt it on a 4th and under 5 2 different times tonight, Jared.
4th and 10 here for the Vikings.
But they are going for broke.
Unless they're just going to pull out and Barr's going to, no, Barr's going to throw for it. Barr targets, and that one is airmailed way over Ethan Osborne, and that's another play that is miscommunication. Osborne looked like he cut the route short.
Be a turnover on downs. The Panther offense will take over. 1st and 10.
And out of all the 4th downs they could have possibly converted on, Jared, there has to be a head scratcher there. And when I said they were going for broke, it was definitely an understatement.
They only needed 10 yards. They didn't need to go for the end zone from the 40.
Yeah, absolutely launched it into double coverage.
And, I mean, you saw Osborne cut across the field, so I don't know if Osborne, he saw that he was open and just cut across to get the first down. And just like we've anticipated, Palmer's back in there for the Panthers. Thomas goes in motion, goes right between the two. Palmer hands off to Armbruster. Armbruster breaks one tackle, breaks another, and he's going to be pushed out of bounds, and that's going to be a loss of about 2.
A great spin move there at the beginning of that play, but they contained Armbruster. Now you see Moyes Armbruster limping, Jared. Number 8 seems to have tweaked his ankle, and that could be a huge defining moment for Springboro's.
And now they're going to make him come off the field.
Yeah, that could be a very dangerous injury right now. Really need to get that checked up and handle that properly. But now they will bring out Yates in the backfield, just as dangerous.
Palmer's going to spin move.
Roll to the right.
Blitz through 2 defenders. Going to check it down, and that is incomplete, intended to Thomas. And that's his second drop on a wide open pass.
Yeah.
And if he's not going to get talked to at halftime, he might be put on the bench.
Nice footwork and poise by Landon Palmer. And when you watch this kid play, the eye test just makes it, he stands out from the other quarterbacks in this conference, Jared.
Yep. Ineligible downfield.
We got a penalty.
Number 78, offenses. Decline. 3rd down.
So Miamisburg is going to decline the penalty.
14 now from the 30-yard line.
I would have accepted the penalty. That'll make it 3rd and about 30 if you were the Vikings. But I mean, declining at 3rd and 14, Palmer can run for 14. We've seen it so far.
He drops back now, and he might just do that, Jared.
He's going to spin move.
He is circling
stays
around.
On his feet. Palmer going to check it down to, it looks like Yates.
But just
gets to the 30, so it'll gain 4.
Palmer on the scramble passes to number 1, Yates.
Well, Palmer ran for about 14 with all the scrambling he did. And you hear we're sitting on the Miamisburg sideline. Maybe a possible holding call that was missed, but I mean, it's going to be 4th down, so Miamisburg gets another win on defense and see if they can score before the half ends. Springboro on to punt for the first time tonight. Ball is skipped back to him. Barely gets the kick off. And it's going to bounce at the 30 and roll down to about the 24, 23. Well, the 22. And another 2 flags come in during the punt.
1st and 10 Vikings from their own 22.
And we saw a possible personal foul on one of the players around the 50-yard line, and Wait for the word for the refs.
Personal foul. Number 2 on a kicking team. 15-yard penalty.
So Miamisburg,
First down.
ball was at the 22. It's going to come out to the 37.
Brandon Thomas practicing his WWE moves. And we'll see.
He already has 2 drops and now personal foul. Will Hyde, if he doesn't talk to him at halftime, he might be told to stay in the locker room at halftime.
15-yard penalty places the ball now at the 37-yard line. That's where the Vikings will have it, 1st and 10 with 5:28 to go, second quarter.
5.5 to go. And we say this almost every drive, but the Vikings have to score, Jared. Barr takes the snap, handoff to Davis.
Davis, flag comes in.
And you saw it from number 62,
Davis, the ball carrier.
Drew Miser on the Viking side, looking so frustrated. And that's going to be a holding penalty. And what's the starting field position for Miamisburg? Say it with me, Jared.
First and 15.
Holding. Offense. Number 16. 10-yard penalty. First down.
That's going to be 1st and 20.
And they're going to slap that one on Peyton Myers. So we'll come out in another 5-receiver set, but as we saw, Davis in the slot usually motions in. He'll stay at receiver. Barr drops back.
Barr's going to throw it out to Davis, and Davis is hit hard, and that was number 25 coming in with the tackle.
Perfect timing.
Number 26, Davis, tackle made by number 25. Penalty flag on the play.
And that one, it looks like that could be leading with the helmet.
Here we go, another flag, Jared, and we might be approaching the double digits when it comes to these penalties so far.
For the Panthers, it seems like.
Illegal helmet contact. Number 9 on the defense. 15-yard penalty. First down.
So Miamisburg is going to go deep into the Panthers territory with that one.
That'll move the ball across midfield. It'll be 1st and 10 Vikings.
So Miamisburg is getting a lot of help out from the penalties.
So completely spreading out their offense. Not a lot of Davis in the backfield anymore. Play action to Thomas. Going down the field. He has an open receiver.
It is hauled in.
And that is dropped by Colin Ivy. Right through the young man's hands. That one has to hurt the junior Colin Ivy. He had a corner route out to the sideline. Beat his man. Had to throw, leading in with Barr. Just could not haul it in. Jared, this has been a completely different Miamisburg Vikings team, trying to convert to a more spread out offense from the Steve Chanel wing T. But we almost always see an exceptional offensive line, and we have not seen that so far this year. Barr drops back again, looking at Davis.
Davis has it out to about the 45.
Barr's pass is complete on that far sideline. Knocked out of bounds by 25 and number 9, Nathan Swartz.
It's going to be about 3rd and 6 now.
So 3rd and about 5 here to go.
So more spread out offense from the Vikings.
Barr going to throw it right across the middle of the field. That is hauled in. I believe that is Osborne.
Christian Davis.
Or Davis.
In the slot.
Pass over the middle to number 26. Tackle made by number 11.
Freshman has another catch.
Collins with another tackle.
No flag on the play, thankfully.
Panther 36.
He has gotten so many looks through the first 5 games. Have to be mildly concerned about the young man's miles.
And Davis is down on the, oh, he's tying his shoe.
Looks like an equipment problem for one of the Vikings players.
4:24 left in the first half. Miamisburg, I mean, we can say it over and over again. I mean, but a score is evident here that they need to just get points on the board. for something to work on and at least something they can look at. Well, Barr is getting blown up through the back, but Barr is going to have a first down run.
Braden Barr has some space, and he
reaches
loses
out and he
it.
fumbles it.
Oh my goodness, you cannot make this stuff up, Jared. Timmy Kessaday forces the fumble from Braden Barr. And as you see on the MVCC Game of the Week replay, he has open space.
And it is just popped out from behind, and Miamisburg, or Springboro, forces a turnover here.
Oh my goodness, you have to be kicking yourself. That one has to hurt. Absolutely demoralizing. And I wonder what you say to Braden Barr when he comes on the sideline.
You got to hold on to that ball, son.
Wow. Almost in the red zone before a spotty first half. Really needed that score. We said it over and over again. It just gave it up.
Palm. Oh, no, that's Apple.
Back in once again.
And Miamisburg makes a nice open field tackle.
That was number 44 there, Henry Wasowski.
Gain of about 3 on the play. Second down and 7.
Titan Case, the leading receiver for the Springboro Panthers. Someone we haven't seen fully utilized tonight yet. But we'll see how Mikey Apple performs and who he goes to. We'll definitely probably see him later in the second half. Case motions, Thomas motions. Hand off to Yates.
Gets the motion, carry up the middle. Yates, see, if he wasn't so fast and outruns his blockers, he could probably be running still.
But he is just a flash.
And it's a first down for the Panthers at their own 40-yard line.
So impressive year after year. See some of the same stuff from Willian Yates. All-around weapon. Apple tries to get him with the fake height. Looks over for the play call. And wow, deflected to the ground by Alex Eanes coming off the edge, jumping, towering over Apple. So that'll bring up 2nd and 10 now. And you see right behind Wilhite out there, Armbruster standing up on 2 legs. And you gotta think probably holding him off for the rest of this game. Had a little tweak of the ankle.
Apple's going to roll to the right. Apple's going to tuck it and run. Apple has pushed out of bounds at the 49, so he'll be close to a first down. It'll be 3rd and short.
And as we were talking about earlier, Ryan Wilhite is probably very excited to have this young man backing up Landon Palmer. You already know who's going to be the quarterback next year. And at some point, you don't care about stats as a coach. The only stat that's important is the win-loss column. Apple back again. Thomas in motion. Handoff to Yates. And brought down up the middle.
Won't be enough for the first down. It'll be 4th and about 1.5 yards. Let's see what the Panthers do here.
The junior Spencer Harger dragging him down. 4th and 1.
And they're going to keep the offense on the field. Springboro is still can take 20 more seconds off the clock.
And they're going to tick down every second they can. Thomas in motion once again.
Yates carry up the middle. Yates has a first down, bursts through into Vikings territory.
Yates again up the middle across midfield. Tackle made by number 90, Parker. It's a first down for the Panthers.
First down run for Springboro on a 4th and 1 and hurry up offense. Thomas gets the catch to the outside. Thomas makes 2 defenders miss. First down and still on his feet, and he's pushed out of bounds at about the 22.
Connor Dye coming behind with the emphatic tackle.
Down near the 20-yard line, knocked out of bounds by number 34, Connor Dye. It's the first down for the Panthers.
Finally hauling in his third target of the night.
At halftime, along with the homecoming festivities, the Miamisburg marching band will play. Concession stands are open with all the fresh.
But you see the depth of the Panthers.
Concession stand at the south end.
Armbruster goes out. They put Yates in the running back, and they have Josh Collins, lead defensive back, captain of this team, come in and fill in for the outside receiver.
Apple back to pass, looks to the far sideline. Thomas can't corral it coming out of bounds.
Good coverage on the play by Kyle Bryant.
Complete pass on the play.
He has been making plays all night.
Penalty flag also.
Flag on the field. Did not see any evident foul on that play with my own eyes. Panthers doing a good job of keeping this clock ticking.
Personal foul. Number 90 on the defense. Half the distance to goal.
So personal foul on Spencer Harger. And that will be a big one as that will surge.
That'll put him in
Springboro
first and goal to go situation.
even further into enemy territory.
Penalty goes against the Vikings, and it'll set up a first down.
And they'll have Titan Case in at tight end.
Refs stop the play.
Seems unnecessary. Huh. Well, we'll be right back in. Three receivers, Titan Case at tight end, Yates at halfback.
Apple looks back over to Wilhite for the final call.
Good composure by the Miamisburg line to not jump.
Yates gets the carry. Yates cuts it back in, cuts it back out. Still on his feet, and all of that for about a couple inches for a gain.
That was an entertaining 2-yard run.
Dye and Reese Bryant tackling for.
Tried to turn that one around several times.
Play right about the 10-yard line. It's second down for the Panthers.
So second and almost goal, you got to think. And they keep on trying to get him with the fake hike. Yates switching sides.
Apple throws a dart right to the middle of the field, and that is hauled in. I believe that is number 13.
Khalil Trent.
Apple with a 10-yard strike to Trent to go up 28 or 27, pending the extra point, 28-0.
And it's a touchdown for Springboro.
And good job of pulling that clock all the way down to 26, Jared. They have just absolutely dominated this first half of football. It looks like we have another blowout on our hands for the 5th week in a row.
DePore's kick is good. So the
as expected, the extra point will be converted, and that will give Mikey Apple the same amount of passing touchdowns as Landon Palmer this year.
Seconds to go in the second quarter.
And if you look at their passing yardage, Jared, it's about 60-40 almost, Landon Palmer and Mikey Apple. Apple notching about 400 now through the game. Landon Palmer having about 550. And both have the same amount of touchdowns, both over 50%. And both have the trust of this head coach, Wilhite. But hey, at least we'll know the name for next year.
Right.
A lot of the times these guys are mysteries when they take over the helm at quarterback, and Mikey Apple will be no stranger.
On to kick off again tonight is DePore. Almost assuming this one's going to go into the end zone. No wind to affect the ball at all while it's up in the air.
What makes you think that, Jared?
And DePore's kick is fielded at the 2.
Colin Ivey finally gets an opportunity like he's been waiting for all night.
And they still start at the 20.
Yeah.
Colin Ivey brings
but
it out.
it was a return.
And he's tackled by number 16.
Yeah, I guess that's a positive sign.
Yeah, DePort didn't put all of it into it.
The only negative about that is, who knows, they might have done it on purpose to try to get some clock down.
Yeah, 17 seconds left in the first half.
There's really nothing you can do with that if you're Braden Barr, especially against this seasoned secondary of Springboro.
Red Zone, sponsored by your 60 Klein agent, Laura Hillary.
We'll see this battle once again.
Barr, hands off. No, Barr's going to keep it. Barr's going to roll to the right, and he's going to scamper out of bounds for a gain of 1.
The ball carrier run out of bounds by number 56.
Took 6 seconds off the clock.
And Pretty with the pressure there to push him out of bounds. And also a great first step by Springboro's number 64, Irvin Smith. He is the interior lineman out there. He's been wreaking havoc from the inside, busting up the middle. We'll probably see another pass attempt here, but like I've said, Jared, this secondary is practically made of steel.
Barr back to pass, throws it to Osborne. Osborne catches it and hits immediately, and then thrown down to the ground, and that'll be and that will be the last play of the first half in our MVCC game of the week. Springboro is leading 28-0 at the half.
Second quarter.
Early dominance for the Panthers. Let's see if the Vikings can make any adjustments at halftime to maybe claw back into this one. But it's homecoming night here, so we're going to throw it down to the homecoming crowd. We'll be back after halftime.
Springboro High School is proud to present the 2019 Homecoming Court. The golf carts for tonight's presentation were provided by Century Equipment, and selected staff members were chosen by the senior candidates to drive and present each senior pair.
Catherine Calcaterra and Jack Rennie, driven by science teacher Stephanie Duncan.
Taylor Collins and Justin Palmer, driven by science teacher Whitney Hartman.
Hope Deckman and Will Caulfield, driven by math teacher Mary Luce.
Sydney Depp and Mitchell Lamb, driven by guidance counselor Kate Worsborn.
Gabby Hogan and Truman Hoy, driven by social studies teacher Michael Thompson.
The 2019 freshman court representatives are Bryn Alexander, daughter of Chris and Stephanie Alexander, escorted by Cade Lamb, son of Sean and Katina Lamb.
Erin Offenberger, daughter of Terry and Renee Offenberger, escorted by Shane Griffith, son of Thomas and Brandy Griffith.
Reagan Rouch, daughter of Denny and Christine Rouch, escorted by Evan Russo, son of Brian and Lynn Russo.
The 2019 sophomore court representatives are Sutton Case, daughter of Amy and Sean Case, escorted by James Kendrick, son of Jim and Stephanie Kendrick.
Emily Smith, daughter of Roger and Melissa Smith, escorted by Tony Tack, son of Pat and Harper Tack.
Holly Stackler, daughter of John and Kelly Stackler, escorted by Luke Zier, son of Jeff and Shelley Zier.
The 2019 junior court representatives are Dinky Armbruster, daughter of Scott and Jennifer Armbruster, escorted by Michael Etheridge, son of Darren and Alice Etheridge.
Lila Ellison, daughter of Eric and Jane Ellison, escorted by Titan Case, son of Sean and Amy Case.
Gracie Gitzinger, daughter of Brendan and Margie Gitzinger, escorted by Mike Devine, son of Bob and Denise Devine.
The 2019 senior court representatives are
Catherine Calcaterra, escorted by Jack Rennie.
Catherine is the daughter of Jeff and Melanie Calcaterra. She is an active member of Student Council, NHS, PCOM, and Teen Mentoring. Catherine is also a pole vaulter and a hurdler on the indoor and outdoor track teams. She plans to study chemical engineering.
Jack Rennie is the son of John and Deanna Rennie. Jack has played soccer and has ran track since freshman year. He would like to thank his cute dogs, Maggie and Mia.
Taylor Collins, escorted by Justin Palmer. Taylor Collins is the daughter of Scott and Leanne Collins. Taylor is a starter for the softball team, earning an honorable mention in all-team second conference. As a member of the Teaching Academy program, Taylor plans to pursue early childhood education at Ohio University.
Justin Palmer is the son of Dan and Michelle Palmer. Justin is a member of National Honor Society and Student Council. He enjoys working at A&S Party Rental and plans to study biology in college. He would like to give a shout out to his girlfriend Natalie and his dog Faith.
Hope Deckman, escorted by Will Caulfield. Hope Deckman is the daughter of Steve and Amy Deckman. Hope is the treasurer for National Honor Society, and she serves as a Panther Athletic Council representative for girls lacrosse. She is involved in Student Council, is the leader of the Blue Crew, and works at Skyland Chili by the Dayton Mall.
Will is the son of Chris and Stephanie Caulfield. Will is the senior class president and is a member of the wrestling team at National Honor Society. Will plans to manage and finance in college and thanks everyone for making his SHS experience special and unforgettable.
Sydney Depp, escorted by Mitchell Lamb. Sydney is the daughter of Phil and Virginia Depp. She has been recognized as an American Young Hero for founding the Love Project, helping heroin babies get addicted to love. She is a 4-year varsity cheerleader, a member of the Panther Athletic Council, and plans to study broadcast journalism in college.
Mitchell is the son of John and Nancy Lamb. He has been a team mentor for 2 years and is a member of the varsity baseball team. In his free time, he volunteers at Miracle Field. Mitchell plans to major in sociology.
Gabrielle Hogan, escorted by Truman Hoy. Gabby Hogan is the daughter of Matthew and Monica Hogan. Gabby is a member of National Honor Society, Blue Crew, and is a 4-year varsity softball player. She plans to pursue her academic and athletic career at John Carroll University.
Truman is the son of Dave and Shelley Hoy. Truman has been a member of the Ultimate Frisbee team for 4 years. In his free time, Truman plays on a recreational soccer team and participates in Young Life.
The Corps representatives would like to thank their families, friends, teachers, and community for their support. The 2019 Mr. and Miss Panther will crown each princess in the homecoming king and queen.
The freshman prince is Shane Griffith.
The freshman princesses, Erin Offenberger.
The sophomore princes, James Kendrick.
The sophomore princesses, Emily Smith.
The junior princes, Mike Devine.
The junior princesses, Gracie Gitzinger. Your 2019 Springboro High School homecoming king is Truman Hoy.
Your 2019 Springboro High School homecoming queen is Catherine Calcaterra. On behalf of Springboro High School Student Council, we would like to thank you for attending tonight's game.
Let's give a round of applause for the 2019 homecoming court.
Great job, guys.
I'm sorry.
The Miamisburg Viking Marching Band is proud to present the final two movements of their 2019 competition show, The Promise of Spring, featuring the original music by Andrew Markworth based on melodies of Mozart, Stravinsky, and Debussy. The band will be led on the field tonight by drum majors Cassidy Jackson, Junie Nguyen, Maddie Vandenberg, and Sabrina Sedlacko. Please welcome the Miamisburg Viking Marching Band.
welcome back to Careflight Field here in Springboro for tonight's second half of our MVCC game of the week. Springboro currently leads 28-0 over the visiting Miamisburg Vikings. Jeff, we saw Miamisburg move the ball well a few times in the first half, but couldn't accumulate enough plays in a row to get a touchdown scoring drive. Do we see anything that they could have adjusted on to maybe change that here in the second half?
I feel like their performance relies on their offensive line at this point. That is the thing that swings the pendulum. That has always been a strength of Miamisburg's, is their offensive line year after year, but it seems that they have lost that with new coach Lance Schneider. So I definitely think if they take it one play at a time and chip one by one, then there is a chance, because they're only down four possessions. So that's 4 stops and 4 scores. So we'll see as this half kicks off with a Reese Bryant kickoff. Kessaday gets it. He'll take it to about the 36. And all the Panthers need is 1 score, Jared. And that enables the 5th OHSAA clock runoff we've seen this season in a row.
Springboro will start this 1st and 10 from the 36.
And I imagine they'll bring Apple back out.
Yeah, like I was about to say, I'm assuming Apple's coming out.
And we are wrong, as they'll bring out Landon Palmer.
Well, you let Palmer come out, get a drive or 2 under his belt, and then let him go back. And
also no Moyes Armbruster. You have to assume that they're keeping him out for the rest of this game. Kessaday will take the carries and almost lost it right off the carry there.
And a late flag. 2 late flags come in.
Another penalty tonight.
Well, it's been a lot of the penalties on first down have been false starts, but the play, it was so late that it's not that.
So yeah, you have to assume we'll see no Armbruster the rest of this game.
Number 90, face mask.
Personal foul, face mask called against Spencer Harger of the Vikings. That's his 2nd personal foul called on him tonight. And if this was a college game, he's gone.
Got to do what you got to do, Jared.
Penalty moves the ball across the 50-yard
So now we'll see
line.
Kessaday
First and 10 Panthers.
perhaps permanently filling in a running back role for the rest of the game. And it's interesting to see how often the Panthers swap quarterbacks. It's something we've been reading on the stat sheet for weeks, but now we get to see it live.
Palmer's going to fake the pitch, run right up the middle. Palmer cuts it back out to the right, and he's landed on by a couple Vikings, but it looks like number 34 there, Connor Dye, gets the first tackle.
Fantastic play design. The left side of the line even pulled left with the toss. So created a perfect diversion. And Springboro sells all their starters out, perhaps just trying to get to that 30-point mark.
Palmer back to pass.
That's
Throws
going
it
deep.
to the middle of the field for Yates, and it is hauled in by Yates.
And then he dropped it.
He drops it at the end.
But what a beautiful play. Oh, my goodness.
That's definitely the longest pass we've seen Palmer throw tonight.
And it was pretty. It was pretty,
It was
Jared.
on point. I just maybe a little bit too far out in front of Yates.
Perfect arc. Overthrows his 5'10" frame once again.
2 weeks from tonight. 3rd down and a long 4 for the Panthers offense.
Palmer going to hand off to Kessaday. Kessaday cuts it back in across the 40 down to about the 37, but it'll be 4th down. And we might see the poor field goal, but I don't think they're going to go for it.
Looks like it'll be 4th down in a matter of inches.
Yeah, there's no way. And they will swap personnel. They're bringing in the heavy set now. And they'll bring in a tight end and a fullback. So definitely expecting a Kessaday handoff right up the middle. And Miamisburg appears ready for that.
Guess they gets the handoff. Burst
And
through
they
the middle.
are not ready
and
for
he's
that,
going to
Jared.
have a touchdown.
I had the wrong impression. They were not ready for that at all. Tim Kessaday all the way to the end zone.
That was a 37, 38-yard run right up the middle on 4th down.
As you see on the MVCC Game of the Week replay, Timmy Kessaday just one burst, and he's gone. Straight through the second level, and that is always a concern when you kind of pinch guys like that and send a lot initially off of the run. Once you send everybody at the runner, there's nobody to be a safety. And that marks the 5th extra point good out of 5 from Matthew DePore. And that will enable our 5th straight OHSAA clock runoff. And we've seen this, I repeat, 5 times out of 5 games this year, Jared. I don't think we'll get that unlucky again.
It just shows the fall off. I mean, dominant teams that were 2 years ago very much senior-led last year, they go through rebuilding phases.
Oh, complete rebuild.
And, I mean, last year, Springboro went 3-7 or 4-6. They fell off a little bit. Now, look, they're a bunch of seniors on the team.
Yeah.
They're 4-0, cruising their way to 5-0.
So much experience in that team, and all the weapons really came together. The team meshed perfectly, and I think it's safe to say it's well on their way to 5-0 tonight, Jared, as the Panthers kick off once again.
And this one's fielded at, no, I thought he was going to try and get it. But so 6 out of 7 kickoffs for DePore have went for touchbacks.
And honestly, I think the one that didn't get a touchback, he did that on purpose, but that's just my opinion. It was right before the half to take the clock down, but enough of that. Here comes Braden Barr for his first possession of the second half. Has had a lot of trouble this season so far behind that offensive line. Has had even more trouble tonight behind this intense Springboro front. And we see a read option. Barr took it inside, and he's definitely mindful of that fumble that he had earlier, Jared.
Gain of about 8 on the play. It'll set up a second down and 8, or second down and 2 rather, from the 28.
Gain of 8 on the play for Barr.
With the 35-point lead, we'll have a running clock.
2nd and 2. You just heard the announcer. The running clock finally starts.
Barr going to throw a dart to the outside. Looks like it was complete to
Ethan Osborne.
Osborne once again, and maybe gets to the line of scrimmage.
Strangely enough, Jared, it looked like it was supposed to be a play action, but Barr did not go to the running back at all.
No flag on it. Penalty.
So the refs will wave it off.
So no gain on the play. It'll be
3rd and 2 still.
Very unusual sequence. Doesn't happen often, 2 times in a game. So 3rd and 2 now. And here, and even if you're down, even if you've accepted defeat, these are the plays that you get better on.
Davis carry right up the middle, and it's going to be hard fought for the gain of 2.
Yeah, I definitely think that was a first down, though. But
the refs are going to say no.
Yeah, they called the play down before.
Might get a gain of 1. Swartz with the tackle there for the Panthers, and Miamisburg's going to send out the punting unit on 4th and 2.
And I don't understand that, Jared. You have nothing to lose here. Down by 5 touchdowns, but
I don't think you want to give Springboro the ball with that short of field position.
Still punting. Definitely a game of risk-reward, but
not
much
been a
to
lot of
lose at this
risk.
point. And wow, way over the head of the punter, still gets it off. That'll only net about 30 yards as it keeps on creeping downfield.
And he punted that one from the end zone.
Yeah.
That was so the special teams woes when punting when it comes to hiking still haunt the Miamisburg Vikings. That's their third time that a punt has either hit the ground or went way over the punter's head.
Fans, we have a lost iPhone. Somebody, if you've lost your iPhone, it's at the press box.
So new coach, new quarterback, new halfback. Got different receivers in there, a completely different offensive line. This is a learning experience for the Miamisburg Vikings nonetheless.
They even got new uniforms.
Palmer to the outside, perfect pass.
I did not see Yates there on the outside to catch it. I thought it was going to the tight end going across the field.
A little low, but still a bullet, very accurate to the outside.
I don't think it's a little low for Yates.
Definitely within his catch radius.
And look who is back on the field. It is Armbruster for the Panthers.
It's kind of confusing how they
up 35
whip
and
their personnel back out.
He tweaked it. Palmer's going to do that fake pitch again, and Palmer's going to run through for a first down.
Works to perfection.
But with up 35, and you saw him come out with like 7 minutes left in the first half with a knee or an ankle injury, he's going to come back out.
First down for the Panthers at the Miamisburg 43-yard line.
I mean, as much as we question the methods, you have to acknowledge that 35-0 lead and that 5-0 record coming out of tonight. Springboro is doing something right. Play
Palmer
action.
back to pass, going deep to Yates. And it is hauled in. Flag on the play, but I think, well, not hauled in.
They're going to say Plowman
Sorry.
jumped a little early on it, and the Miamisburg sideline is not having it, Jared.
That pass hit Yates in stride, but it was knocked away.
If we can get a replay, we can see the point of impact from Plowman to Yates. See the play action from Palmer. Lobs it all the way downfield, and that is very questionable for not having a replay.
You can maybe say Plowman got his hand on there before his arm, before the ball got there, but I think if you're Miamisburg and you're going to focus and be mad about one play and a 35-point loss, I think you got bigger problems.
Well, to the naked eye, Jared, that is very hard bang play.
And that's what the refs, I mean, high school refs have the hardest. There's no replay system. I mean, we can sit and say that it was or wasn't pass interference, but they don't have the ability to look at it.
Another play action.
Palmer's going to go right back to it, and
and that's a pass interference. And that is a clear pass interference that time.
Yeah, he pulled Yates. Oh, no, that's Thomas.
No
was that
arguments.
Thomas or Yates?
No, that was Yates. Once again, I think it was the
He
exact
pulled that
same
one
play,
behind.
Jared. I even saw the same movement from the offensive line. And another replay for another play action deep pass to Yates.
And that one, he did pull his arm down before the ball
definitely
got
there before it. But there's only so much you can do if you're Austin Plowman.
You can not touch him like you're not supposed to.
Well, the straight line speed of Yates is a lot to deal with.
Yeah. You've got to get him disrupted at the line of scrimmage or within that 5-yard period. But now, I mean, it's not going to be a deep play action pass to see if Springboro's going to try and launch it. They've went 30 yards on 2 plays via the penalty.
William Yates, my player to watch, is creating disruption all over the field.
Yates is going to get the pitch.
He's
going to
Thomas
roll.
that time.
No, that is Thomas.
Brandon Thomas coming around the jet sweep. And Reese Bryant making the tackle, has some words for him afterwards.
That was the first play in 4 plays that didn't have a flag ending it.
Still very pumped up is the Miamisburg sideline. Maintaining a certain kind of energy.
Vikings gain of about 6 on the play, second down and 4 from the 8-yard line.
So this will bring 2nd and 4, 1 possession away from a goal line stand. And we'll see how much Armbruster has worked in, and he gets the carry up the middle.
And Armbruster,
that's going to be a first.
Have enough for the first down.
Good tackle by Jamal Evans there.
The ball carrier plows his way close to the 5-yard line.
And the front seven held their ground that time.
It's first and goal for the Panthers in the 60-Klein red zone.
So it'll be interesting to see, does Armbruster get the carry? Does Palmer do that fake pitch, or does he throw it?
Well, you see a halfback change from Armbruster to Kessaday, so I definitely think Kessaday is going to run up the middle behind that fullback.
See Trent go in motion. Kessaday the carry. Kessaday runs right up the middle and scores from 5 yards out for his second touchdown of the game.
Yeah, beautiful red zone stand. And
just look how the offensive line separates the defense and virtually goes in untouched as the offensive line parts the ways. And they make a tunnel big enough, or a hole big enough that you could drive a car through.
And once again, it just displays Springboro's full array of options as Kessaday comes in from the defensive back spot into the goal line back spot and gets his 5th touchdown of the year. And DePore knocks another one in, and that'll be 42-0, Jared. This clock is running a little faster, but no signs of resistance from the Miamisburg Vikings so far. They lost by 35 last week, so we'll definitely be trying to put some points up here on the latter end of this game. So it'll be interesting to see next Springboro possession if they still have those starters out there. I don't think there's any reason for them to still be in, but if you got to get those reps in, you got to get those reps in, man.
Exactly.
And definitely will shoot up in the state standings after this win, as they've blown through 2 GWAC teams now.
They came in, the first rankings for the GWAC came out this week, and I think they were like 13th. If I remember correctly. So a dominating performance like this should definitely put them into the top 10.
And beating 2 prestigious Greater Western Ohio Conference teams back-to-back as they took down Wayne last week, 42-27. Put up another 42 here, and we're not even at the end of the third quarter yet. It's definitely hailing impressive so far.
And then later on in the season, we see Springboro 2 more times, as DePore's kick goes in the end zone.
Yeah, last 2 weeks we'll revisit the Springboro Panthers.
Right.
And
in week 9 we're here. We get to see Trotwood. That should be an excellent game.
Indeed.
And then week 10, it's Springboro and Centerville.
The showdown of 2 of the best quarterbacks in the entire conference.
Yeah,
Chase Harrison will come in.
Sophomore versus senior.
Yeah. Well, Landon Palmer has shown his full set of skills tonight.
And a lot of the reason I think that starters are still in for the Panthers is because you've got your postseason awards that they hand out. So, you don't want to short your team the awards just because they're blowing teams out and only get to play a half.
Yeah. I don't know, because Landon Palmer has seen a lot of rest this year, and they haven't blinked an eye.
Right, and it'd be interesting. Not if they would have left him in, just how much better would his stats be, or how much more would they be winning by?
And you got to add all Apple stats plus probably a little more yardage because of that kid's arm. But here we go, Miamisburg coming out after a 1-yard rush from Tamar Thomas. They'll fake it to him and
fumble.
A mishap. Davis might have had that at the bottom of the scramble. Davis had it going to the ground, and they're going to say he still does. So I think that'll be about a 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 11. 3rd and 11 now.
There's a loss of yardage on the play. It'll set up a 3rd down and 12.
3rd and 12, so loss of 3 on the fumble.
So another 3rd and long. And Jared, we talked about this at the beginning of the game. They had to keep 3rd downs manageable, and they have not done that so far. They've had very few 3rd downs become manageable, and haven't really converted even when they have those opportunities.
Yeah, they had plenty of opportunities early in the game, and Barr's going to throw a pitch, and they're going to say it's incomplete, so 4th and 12. And
that was to Davis, but they had him wrapped up The defensive lineman did a great job of reading his check down.
And that will probably be the last play of the third quarter. Just 18 seconds left. Miamisburg doesn't look like they're going to get ready to snap it, so that'll do it for the third quarter of our MVCC Game of the Week for week number 5. Springboro comes out and scores 2 touchdowns to extend their lead 42-0 over the Miamisburg Vikings. So going into the fourth quarter, I'm assuming this drive for the Panthers is going to involve the backups.
Yeah, for sure. You have to think so. But even their backups have been succeeding this year. They've been thriving in these situations. So definitely not expecting a halt in the scoreboard. So brings out the punting unit now. We've seen a lot of Braden Barr's leg tonight, as you predicted. Josh Collins takes that one going backwards.
Tackled from behind.
Kyle Bryant making another impressive play.
Catches it, runs it out to the 40-yard line.
He's had a pretty good night so far. So that will switch possessions now. And it looks like the Panthers will finally bring out some of the backups, but not quite all of them. I forgive me if I'm mistaken. I think that's Moyes Armbruster still out there at halfback, though.
And Miamisburg almost had that interception for their number 11, Justin Davis.
And
that was 6 if he would have held on, but he was looking upfield before he had the ball.
And confusing because if that was a bullet, Apple might have had his receiver, but he kind of hung that one after telegraphing his pass. We still got Khalil Trent out there, but a barrage of other players thrown in now with the Springboro starting offense. And Apple will take the snap, hand off to Armbruster.
Armbruster cuts upfield. Armbruster breaks 2 tackles, pushes his blocker out of the way, and he'll be across the 50 for a first down into Viking territory.
It's a first down for the Panthers. Tackle made by Dalton Ellis.
Good job of getting outside the tackles there and penetrating down the sideline.
First and 10 from the 46. Apple back to pass, throws it to Armbruster. Armbruster stopped and is hit out of bounds by number 2. That is Alex Ains.
So Miamisburg keeping their starting defense in.
2 on the play, second down and 8.
And Springboro has to feel good about themselves. They're still moving the ball. So we see another 4 receivers set with Armbruster behind Apple. Armbruster with that open field once again.
Armbruster, 2 tackles
Oh
broken.
my goodness.
A third tackle
2
broken.
cuts.
20, 10, cuts it back. I lost him in the crowd, but he's tackled at the 8.
That little man is quick.
And a flag at the end. A late flag comes in from the far ref, but let's take a look. Look at this run.
Beautiful
Play
job by the
action,
offensive line.
Read option read beautifully.
A nice run by Armbruster.
Personal foul.
We'll see what the penalty is.
Dead ball. Personal foul. 18 on the offense.
Dead ball personal foul called against Adam Berry.
So Armbruster.
A first down run, and then it's going to knock them back 15.
Yeah, that'll be back. Do you know if that still counts towards his stat sheet?
The run will, but then it'll penalties. I don't know.
It's the important
I'm
question
not
at this point in the game.
8
minutes to go. And we'll see another Springboro drive close to their end zone.
Apple back to pass, throws it out to Trent. Trent spun down out of bounds by Plowman. And it's interesting that the Panthers keep targeting Plowman. He had the 2 offensive or defensive pass interference called against him, and they're still going to keep attacking him. That is something Will Hyde has done over the years for excellence. Is he targets your weakness. He pinpoints what player. He pinpoints what player is the weakest one on defense, and he attacks it continuously until the opposing coach makes changes.
So stick around after the game.
So timeout on the field. 8 minutes left still. It'll be a 2nd and 4 when we get back to action. But Jared, as you look in the future of the Springboro Panthers season, did you think they have the potential to go 10-0?
Just by going off with what I saw last year, I didn't really know what to expect from the Panthers. And then I just was watching stats after each game coming into the season or coming into this game. They've been dominant on all 3 phases of the ball, and they proved it again tonight. And I don't want to put anything on anything too early, only halfway through the season after tonight's game, but I don't see why Springboro does not go 10-0. I mean, granted, they have 2 hard games at the end of the year in Trotwood and Centerville. 2 will be close contested games, we hope. But I think this Panthers team they have potential to make a deep playoff run. I think. It's first down from the 12.
Apple drops back and almost has his receiver to the side. That was Connor Heiser. That was just outside of the end zone. And the clock will keep running as Springboro takes their time processing their play calling this late in the game. And a lot of valuable time in these blowouts that Mikey Apple is getting, preparing for the next year. Apple, play action. Oh, no, that was a good handoff. Inside to number 35, Nathan Flynn. I don't think he really gained anything there. Might have been a yard, and that'll bring it to 3rd down and 9. So we could potentially see a field goal.
No, you never know. DeBoer hasn't had much work since the game against Mason. Field goal wise, he's only been out there to kick extra points.
4 of 7 on the season. Apple drops back, trying to sense the pocket, almost gets sacked, escapes, going to the sideline, and he'll get tackled by Connor Dye. Going outside, that'll bring up 4th down. And it will bring the kicking unit onto the field. And there is no backup kicker. DePore will be out there to attempt his 8th field goal of the season. Miamisburg has been getting really close on the edge to blocking these extra points. Let's see if there can be another effort made on trying to block this kick.
Kick is up, and kick is good by DePore.
That'll probably end his efforts tonight on a perfect note so far. A lot of touchbacks, a lot of extra points on one field goal. Matthew DePore is one happy kicker. So 5 minutes to go in this one, and it is all but over, Jared. There's no chance of a comeback, and we suspected a game like this at the beginning. We suspected an ending like this at halftime, and here we go. No secret here.
5 minutes left. Just a few more notches. Once this ball is kicked off, we'll be that much closer to wrapping up our game of the week for week number 5. Looking ahead to next week's game, it'll be Fairmont versus Miamisburg down at Miamisburg.
That one should actually be a really close one.
That one has potential to be a closer game. Both Miamisburg and Fairmont struggling this season after both teams almost losing almost everything.
Both losing their starting quarterback, both losing their starting running back, a lot of defensive pieces, a lot of good offensive linemen. But Fairmont and Miamisburg having that one win against Walnut Hills, but other than that, nothing.
And that was the game that Christian Davis established himself as a legitimate dual threat. He caught, I think 3 passes for 117 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, it was a crazy night statistically. The kid is going to be super impressive for the next 4 years, but Miamisburg has not shown anything outside of that game, dropping 4 in a row, barring an extreme miracle. And Fairmont is in the midst of losing
tonight against Springfield.
And ironically, facing what I think are the 2 best teams in GWalk right now, Springfield and Springboro.
Well, Centerville, hopefully they hit something and bounce back. Their performances, this Braden Barr with an end around.
Read option there, going straight to the edge.
Gets out to the 50.
It was a sneaky great play. Didn't even expect that one.
But we got a lot of competition left these last few weeks. Fairmont, Miamisburg next week. The week after that is the Spirit Chain game. Centerville versus Fairmont. You can when it comes to that game, you just throw everything out the window. It doesn't matter the record, the rules, but the rules have to still stay. But other than that, anything is up for grabs in that game. Always a
Braden Barr completing probably the most impressive pass of his night so far to Tywan Howard.
That game's always a battle. Then it's Wayne Fairmont, then it's Trotwood Springboro back here, and then Springboro Centerville to end the night, or end the season.
So we have some stellar games ahead of us, Jared.
Then we'll take a few weeks off and we'll be back for basketball.
Yeah, but those last 2 weeks are going to be great games. We got 2 Springboro Panthers matchups in a row. And
in and out of the hands of Tamar Thomas. Barr took a hit at the end.
So we're through the 5th week, Jared, and a reoccurring theme of tonight has not been validified yet, as I don't think Miamisburg has found their number 1 receiver. No. Ethan Osborne has had some looks. Tamar Thomas has had some impressive looks.
Yeah, Osborne got quite a few tonight.
Yeah, and also Tywan Howard showing off. But I definitely think a promising note going forward, Jackson McGowan, number 84, they gave him some targets in the past few weeks. I think he's going to be a very promising receiver.
Barr back to pass, throws it short, skips it to Osborne.
And McGowan, a 6'4" freshman receiver, already starting. Christian Davis, a freshman. Where are they getting these kids, Jared? They have some prospects, no doubt, for the future. But you got to wonder what they're going to do at quarterback. Braden Barr not exactly excelling so far this year. And
haven't really seen anything, from a backup quarterback.
Now, I was about to say, you got to wonder.
Brock Vaughn is listed as a quarterback. Justin Berry is listed as a quarterback. Zach Russell is listed as a quarterback.
Barr with another impressive run. Closing out tonight. A minute and a half left to go, week number 5. But like we were saying, Jared, there was no Barr hasn't even fully excelled at every given opportunity this year. You got to wonder what they're going to do about a backup quarterback, because he's already a senior. Miamisburg has to hope one QB emerges out of the crop for the future. Barr drops back and he lobs it up into double coverage, and that'll probably be a flag.
There's
big
two
pass
of them.
interference there. Probably on number 20, Nathan Coy. Here you see on the replay, a big lob with some collision at the end of that play. And so 50 seconds left to score.
Number 20, 15-yard penalty.
This clock is ticking fast.
Quick, fast, and in a hurry, counting down the last few seconds of this game.
First down.
We're wrapping it up. Miamisburg's going to try to at least score once to avoid the shutouts.
That I can say, they have not been shut out this year.
And we'll see here. This will be the deciding factor. Barr in the middle.
Barr.
And he gets it to Thomas.
He doesn't get down, though. 13 seconds left. I'm surprised Miamisburg doesn't take a timeout.
Yeah, I would use my timeout there. I definitely thought he got in, though.
6 seconds. Miamisburg trying to go hurry.
They're setting it up. 3, 2, 1. They get the play off. Davis up the middle.
Davis
goes nowhere.
does not get in, and that is how your MVCC game of the week for week number 5 will end.
First shutout for Springboro this year.
Springboro pitches a perfect game. 45-0 is the final score. Miamisburg falls to 1-4. Springboro to 5-0. We'll be back at it next week for Fairmont versus Miamisburg. For the rest of the Miami Valley Communications crew, the students from Kettering, Fairmont, West Carrollton High Schools, and for you watching, we'll see you next week.
quick slant out. And another incomplete pass intended there to number 2, Jake Kenner.
Yeah, if you're the Eagles, you have to get up on this defensive play and force the quarterback to make an error.
Excellent. You got the ball in. Nicely done. 3-3. Go to 3.
By Bell. Bell breaks 2 tackles.
That's all you 3.
Bell's
Nicely
out.
done. Oh,
Bell
he should have
trips up
stayed
on the
there.
flag.
Keep falling them back 3.